Hey Fragrance family, welcome back to my channel. This is Dave from Scent Memories. In this review, I'm really excited to be talking about a very special release from my favorite house. So if you're curious to know more about it, don't go away. So welcome back everyone. Before we actually begin the review, as always, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you can do so just by hitting the subscribe button down below. That way, when I do upload a new video, although I know it's been a long hiatus between the last one and this one, you'll be the first to know about it. So this particular release in this video is talking about a 2021 release from my favorite house, and this release is Roja Manhattan. So before we talk about the actual fragrance and the profile, its presentation, etc., I want to just talk quickly about the discussion amongst the social media groups and kind of the dissension between the way that Roja Parfums marketed this fragrance and the actual fan base itself. So I won't really go into a whole lot of detail. I just want to discuss that there was a lot of dissension between the way that they marketed this fragrance as a limited edition, which this fragrance is actually a limited edition. It is a numbered collection out of 100 bottles, but there was very poor communication between Roja Parfums and its fan base. A lot of confusion as to whether or not it would be released again, or if it truly was a numbered collection, like Roja Love, for example. So there was a lot of confusion and a little bit of distaste on the way they actually marketed this fragrance. Personally, I actually agree with those who were dissatisfied with the way they actually marketed it and the communication. I think it could have been better. But that being said, let's talk about the actual fragrance. So this comes in a gorgeous black lacquered box, like so. So you can see here, it does, and very similar, identical black lacquered box that you would see in like PDL in 1, 2, and 3, and H exclusive black tier. So it comes in this gorgeous black lacquered box. So you can see the silk lining in here. The fragrance bottle actually sits in here. So it does look really elegant and beautiful. It is a numbered bottle and a numbered collection. So it comes with this nice card, which says Roja Manhattan here. On the back, it actually talks about a little bit about the fragrance itself. And it is a numbered bottle collection. So you can see it's out of 100. I have the number 5 bottle, and it is signed by Roja Dove. So Roja Manhattan was meant to commemorate and pay homage to the 1920s, the Roaring 20s, and the Prohibition days of the 1920s, and really the speakeasies that were underground during those times, and also paying homage to the Art Deco buildings in the architecture of the 1920s, which I know Roja loves. And you can see here that the actual plaque itself is paying homage to that Art Deco design with the Empire State Building, as well as as the plaque design itself. So it is paying homage to those in tribute to the 20s and the Art Deco buildings, as well as the trials and tribulations they experienced back then, as well as kind of what we're going through now during COVID and how we're able to overcome basically anything as a city and a community. So that's kind of what this is paying tribute to. Now, this is a 2021 launch. This just launched a couple of months ago. This is an amber spicy fragrance. It was available for a limited time at Bergdorf Goodman. And if you haven't been there, please go to check out Bergdorf Goodman. Shout out to my boy Tom. He's one of the best sales associates ever, incredibly knowledgeable and super friendly. But also quick shout out to my boy Ulyss from the Purple Cap family on Facebook. He did help me acquire this one. He's just a fantastic gentleman. And also a huge shout out to the Purple Cap family itself. It is one of my favorite groups. It's filled with incredibly knowledgeable people, incredibly passionate about perfume and Roja Dove, and just a really sweet, lovely group of people who I really cherish. So shout out to all of you. So this is the presentation of Manhattan. You can see it comes with a black lacquered plaque here. Not lacquered, I'm sorry, not black lacquered, but it comes with a black plaque with Roja Manhattan. The Manhattan is kind of symbolizing the Empire State Building. It is a 100 ml bottle. The black crystal cap here. This does retail for $1,000, and with tax, it's about $1,100. It was available for a very short time, as I mentioned, at Bergdorf, and then about a day or two on Roja Parfums, and it's sold out. And I don't think it's coming back. So if you were lucky enough to get a bottle, congratulations. So let's talk about the fragrance profile itself, because that's kind of what we care about the most, right? So this is an amber spicy fragrance, and before I actually dispense the juice, the atomizer itself, you can see, is insanely good. It really disperses, that is so strong. A huge mist here. Now actually I don't have a scent of the day yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply a little bit. And I've been wearing this one literally, it is really beastly. Oh, it's, wow, it's really strong. I've been wearing this one every week, and I'm extremely excited that it's cold out, because this one is going to perform really well in the cold. It does actually last like easily 10 to 12 hours on my skin. So let's talk about what we get with this one. So with Roja Manhattan, you get this kind of green herbaceous lavender and this kind of savory basil in the opening, and it's very short-lived, but it's kind of a savory herbal opening, and it's just for a little bit, but it's actually really lovely. In the mid, as it starts drying down, which is pretty quick, you get this vanillic heliotrope, which I find heliotrope to be usually pretty vanillic, and a kind of dewy, airy violet note. Which is not very pronounced, but it's light, and it's just kind of there. Now, what I get right away in the opening is this tobacco note, which is caramelic and almost whiskey-like. I get that right away with vanilla. Now, tobacco and vanilla actually last the lifespan of this fragrance for me, and the opening really honestly smells a lot like the opening of Dior's Tobacco Color. So I get that right away. Now, as it starts drying down, you get this warm, gourmand, light quality from cinnamon, and it helps pair with that caramelic tobacco note and also a clove note. So the clove is it's poignant, and it's balancing out that tobacco, the vanilla, and the cinnamon in the base and the heart, and it's adding a little bit of an kind of an aromatic quality to this fragrance. Now this one is beastly, as I mentioned. I only spray about, as you can see, about 3 to 4 on the skin. It lasts all day. And projects and pushes off my skin at least 3 hours, if not more. So I can smell it around me all day. Now, as it starts drying down even more, I get this ambery quality from the fragrance. It is an amber spicy fragrance. I don't think there's an amber note listed in the actual the note breakdown, and I don't actually think it's I don't think all notes are actually listed that actually are in the fragrance. But I get this ambery quality, this warm ambery quality from the fragrance as it's drying down, and it's paired with oak moss. Now, oak moss is a little bit earthy here, but it's really acting as a fixative agent to kind of help tie down and ground the rest of those base notes. Now, I get this really becomes, although it's an amber spicy, this really becomes a amber fougere on my skin. It really starts becoming almost an amber fougere fragrance, and as it's drying down even more after like a couple hours, it becomes almost green. I get these green qualities to this fragrance. So from patchouli, it starts getting a little bit green and a little bit damp, but it's paired with this vetiver, which is, I think, a Haitian vetiver. And the Haitian vetiver, which I'm assuming that's what the kind of vetiver is, it's green, it's clean, it's fresh, and it's adding that green quality to this almost ambery fougere aspect that you get here. Now, it's also paired with this lovely pink pepper note, which is a little bit sylvan and a bit almost rose-like. So it's a bit forested and a bit rose-like here, which I honestly really adore. And it's very faint, but it actually acts, it adds that little soft rose to the base here, and kind of a little bit more of that clean nature. Now, one thing I think this fragrance does really well, and the way I love that Roja Dove uses benzoin here. Now, benzoin is in the heart, and it acts almost like it has almost like this sticky quality to this fragrance. It's very resinous in the base with tobacco and vanilla, and also the heliotrope. It acts, it's resinous and sticky, but it adds almost like this mild density to the fragrance. Now, this is not a very thick fragrance. It's not thick like you would find in amber oud. This really is like a mild thickness that I think is very appropriate for the actual note breakdown of this fragrance. And it's very, very well balanced and incredibly, I think this is honestly one of the best releases, if not the best release from Roja Parfums in the last couple of years. Now, I know that some people who have smelled it think it's nothing special, and that's absolutely fine. Some people who smelled it like me smelled it and loved it at first sniff. I love this one right away as soon as I smelled it at Bergdorf. The more and more I wear it, the more I love it. And some folks who smelled it thought it was okay at first, but then it grew on them more and more. I think this is one is going to be an absolute exceptional fragrance in the wintertime. This is definitely unisex. I will be wearing this one dressed up if I go to a formal event. I will be rocking this one because it does push off the skin and project a lot. But I also wear it around town. I've worn this one, like I said, every week, walking my dog Brody, or just walking around, just kind of doing errands. And it's very appropriate for both casual and formal events. Is it worth the money for the $1,000? Personally, I think it could have been priced a little bit lower than $1,000. I think it was priced at that point because it's an exclusive to Bergdorf, but it was confusing because it was exclusive to Bergdorf and then made exclusive at Roja Parfums, or I should say made available at Roja Parfums. So it wasn't really truly exclusive. But that being said, I love this one, and if you're lucky to have it, it's definitely a very worthy piece in the collection. So that's where I stand with Roja Manhattan. I would love to know your thoughts on this one. Oh, before we end up, wrap up, I do want to mention that this one, as I mentioned, does smell like Dior's Tobacco Color in the opening, but as it's drying down, I do get hints of Enigma Pour Homme, that not a ton of it, but a little bit of it, and a slight resinous quality from PDLN2, so from Parfums de la Nuit 2. I don't get, it's not a boozy fragrance, but I get that resinous ambery quality from PDLN2. So for me, it's a combination of Dior's Tobacco Color, Enigma Parfum Pour Homme, and PDLN2. So I would love to know your thoughts. If you've smelled this one, do you love it? Is it something you're going to be wearing a lot? Have you smelled it and thought it was nothing great? Or are you really looking forward to trying it? I would love to know your thoughts. So as always, everyone, thank you for staying tuned and watching this review and for being a supporter of my channel. I really appreciate it. As always, stay safe and take care of each other. Bye, everyone.